The movie begins at a power station outside the city, where workers are celebrating a co-worker's birthday. Suddenly, they notice something strange on the security cameras, a shadow moving inside one of the shafts. Out of nowhere, a mysterious creature attacks. The man tries to make it back to the control room, but a group of monsters chases him down and begins killing everyone in the building. When the solar eclipse covers the sun, the creatures start appearing all over the planet, killing millions of people and destroying entire cities. The media names this event Judgment Day. Soldiers are sent to fight the monsters in a war that lasts throughout the eclipse, costing millions of lives and enormous amounts of resources. In the end, all the creatures are wiped out, and humanity begins rebuilding. Protective structures called gates are designed in case the creatures ever return. 15 years pass, and the world is once again living a normal life. Dave works as a sanitation worker for a company that barely pays him anything, and his job is to enter the shafts to remove dead animals. At the local school, Laura works as a teacher. She becomes friends with another teacher, Milton, who constantly flirts with her and tries to ask her out. Laura has been divorced from Dave for years, and there are still unresolved issues between them. That day, she finally agrees to go out with Milton. At the same time, her son Tyler meets his girlfriend Maddie, who is worried about the upcoming eclipse. Tyler reassures her, saying there's nothing to worry about since many eclipses have happened over the past 15 years without anything bad occurring. Meanwhile, Officer Gart receives a call from workers at one of the gates, asking him to come check reports of major seismic activity. After authorization is approved, Gart heads to the gate, sensing that this time it's not just a drill. He inspects all the systems, but suddenly a power box explodes, causing them to lose an entire network. Back in the city, Dave goes to pick up Tyler from Laura's house. While the boy is playing video games, the parents argue, and it's revealed that Laura was pregnant with Tyler during the last catastrophe. But Dave wasn't there for her at the time, and she still hasn't forgiven him. Tyler interrupts the argument and leaves with his father. Late that night, Dave receives a call from his Uncle Ted, who is convinced that a new Judgment Day will happen the next day. Ted invites Dave to bring his family to his reinforced shelter before the eclipse begins. Tyler watches the news and becomes disturbed when he sees millions of dead fish washing up on beaches around the world, one of the same signs that appeared 15 years earlier. At that moment, the first monster appears at the gate and starts climbing the stairs. At the same time, Laura calls Dave after seeing the news and demands that Tyler come home, since Milton has secured a shelter. Dave wants Tyler to stay with him, and an argument breaks out. During the conflict, Tyler receives a message that causes him to sneak out of the house. When Dave goes looking for him, he finds only a note in Tyler's room with Maddie's phone number. Milton urges Laura to hurry because the shelter is filling up fast. When Laura tells him Tyler is missing, Milton uses Tyler's phone number and a special tracking program to locate him at a skate park. Tyler is there with Maddie, who is terrified because her parents abandoned her. Tyler promises her that he won't be like his father, and that he'll never leave her alone. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise, and massive flocks of birds fill the sky, another sign of Judgment Day. People in the park flee in panic, and the streets become packed with families trying to escape the city. Dave gets stuck in heavy traffic, but when he sees the birds overhead, he abandons his car and continues searching on foot. At the gate, workers are inspecting the systems when they hear strange noises. A monster suddenly appears and attacks one of the men. Gart runs as other soldiers open fire, but it becomes clear that regular bullets have no effect on the creature. Moments later, Dave finally finds Tyler and Maddie just before emergency sirens begin blaring, their sound echoing across the entire city. Thankfully, Laura arrives with Milton, and the three of them get into Milton's car. There is only about 1 hour left before the eclipse. The city is in complete chaos. Everyone is trying to escape, and every road is clogged with traffic. The family gets stuck for a while and sees cult-like groups walking between cars, terrifying drivers with painted faces. These people believe the end of the world has arrived. Finally, when Milton sees an opening, he speeds through and manages to get the family to the shelter. Unfortunately, Even there, chaos reigns, with crowds of people begging to be allowed inside to safety. At the same time, the military announces that only women and children are allowed into the shelter. Dave tells Tyler to go inside with Laura and Maddie, but once Tyler enters, he immediately regrets it and runs back to his father, telling him he will never leave him behind. The women follow him outside, and at that moment, the electronic sign announces that the shelter is now full. The group rushes back to the car, arguing over the limited options they have. Dave wants to head toward the desert bakery, while Milton suggests hiding at the school since it's closer and has a basement. Before they can decide, they get stuck in traffic again and are forced out of the car when an earthquake hits the area. The eclipse has fully begun. As the sun sets and the world falls into darkness, the creatures emerge and immediately take over the city, killing without mercy, just like what happened 15 years earlier. Dave insists they must leave the city and tries to drive, but Milton gets angry, claiming it's his car and that he knows how to save everyone. A fight breaks out between them, but it's suddenly interrupted when a flying creature swoops down and snatches Milton away. Laura screams as Dave shoves her into the car and grabs the steering wheel, finally driving his family out of the city. As they drive alongside the canal, they discuss theories about the origin of the creatures, wondering whether they might be soldiers sent by God. Eventually, the car starts running out of gas, and Dave looks for an alternative. He pulls over near a group of abandoned vehicles and begins searching inside them, only to discover corpses in several of the cars. When he finally finds an empty one and climbs inside, he's startled by a driver hiding behind the passenger seat, who drags him down and warns him that a creature is nearby. The creature circles the cars, searching for more victims. When it passes by the two men, it doesn't notice them and moves on. Another creature then finds one of the bodies and starts feeding on it. Using the distraction, Dave quietly rolls the car toward Laura and the kids. Now with the two cars side by side, Laura and the children carefully try to move from one vehicle to the other. Despite their silence, the creature spots them and charges. The older man slips out of the car and throws salt at the creature, stopping it only for a moment before it leaps on him and begins tearing him apart. The family uses this chance to escape and finally drives away from the area. They take a deserted mountain road while swarms of creatures gather around the city from every direction. Eventually, they reach Ted's bunker, a solid, heavily reinforced concrete structure. The doors are locked, and cameras line the roof, but no one comes out as the family screams, pounds on the door, and begs to be let inside. What they don't know is that Ted is sitting at his computer, watching them through the cameras, while someone nearby holds a gun to his head. At that moment, swarms of creatures appear in the mountains and begin racing toward the bunker. The family grows increasingly tense. Dave grabs a lug wrench to protect them, but finally, the bunker door opens and they rush inside. Inside, they meet Ted and his wife, Stella, but they're shocked to find Gart there as well. It turns out Gart's father was Ted's war buddy, and after being separated from his unit, Gart came here seeking help. Dave notices that Gart is carrying a gun, which immediately makes him suspicious. The group shares a meal together, but they can't stop watching the screens as the creatures repeatedly try to break through the door, heightening everyone's anxiety. Even the radio is useless, nothing but screams come through. Maddie asks how the creatures are able to sense them. Gart explains that they react to light and heat, but he also wonders whether they can see human souls. He then tells his story of surviving the first Judgment Day. He had been working at an oil refinery when the creatures attacked, and he survived by diving into a pool of salty mud and burying himself, listening helplessly as the creatures slaughtered his co-workers and friends. While Gart is distracted by his story, Ted signals Dave to grab and hide a knife, unaware that outside, a millipede-like creature is crawling through a small opening in the mesh covering the window. Later, Gart announces that he will take the first watch. Ted suggests the others stay awake and play cards instead of sleeping, casting a meaningful look at Dave. Gart notices the signal, pulls his gun from its holster, and forces Dave to put the knife down. He explains that Ted was originally against letting him stay, but he felt sympathy for Stella. Having survived death once, he's determined to survive again, no matter the cost. Suddenly, Tyler throws himself at Gart, trying to grab the gun, but Gart shoves him away and a brutal fight breaks out. Maddie steps in and breaks it up, warning them that they can no longer hear the creatures. At that moment, the millipede-like creature crawls out of the wall and bites Stella. As Ted struggles to pull the creature off his wife's neck and throws salt on it, Dave strikes Gart to take his gun and tries to shoot the creature. However, Maddie manages to kill it with a knife. They tie Gart up and try to stop Stella's bleeding, but she clearly needs specialized medical care. Meanwhile, they see on the monitor that a massive creature is repeatedly slamming into the front door, trying to break in. Dave says they have to leave, but Ted refuses, insisting his wife can't go outside. Stella begs him to leave and reminds him about the underground passage beneath the bank that leads into the mountains. Gart says he has a car with a full tank of gas and can take everyone to the gate. No one believes him at first, but he eventually convinces them, explaining that helping them also benefits him. They decide to leave together, but first Ted reveals he has a full weapons arsenal, and everyone arms themselves. As the group enters the tunnel, Dave opens the front door and blows up the first creature that gets inside before it can reach the others. After sealing the tunnel behind them, they step outside and notice that Stella is struggling to walk. She has started transforming into a creature. While walking along the road, Tyler spots a creature standing still that looks dead. Maddie tries to touch it, but Tyler stops her. When she turns around, a long arm shoots out of a hole in the ground, grabs her legs, and tries to drag her down. Maddie screams as Tyler and Dave pull her free, while Laura strikes the arm until it retreats. Once Maddie is released, the group runs. Gart convinces Dave to untie him so he can help if they're attacked again. What the others don't realize is that Dave is hiding an injury in his arm. After a while, they reach the mountain peak and see the city burning below. When they find Gart's car, they're devastated to discover it won't start. At that moment, creatures appear on the mountaintop and begin charging toward them. Gart desperately tries to restart the engine. Stella grabs Ted's gun, intending to end her life before the transformation is complete. Ted fights her and manages to take the gun back, begging her to get into the car. But Dave knows there's no hope. He pulls Ted away while Stella stays behind, waiting as the creatures rush in and devour her. Gart finally gets the car started, and the group escapes, leaving the creatures behind. Along the way, they pick up a radio signal saying that nearly all shelters have failed and been destroyed. They eventually reach the gate, but no one responds over the radio, and the door is wide open. They enter cautiously and discover there's no power. Gart and Dave decide to fix it, while the others search for a first aid kit after realizing Ted has been wounded in the back. While the others tend to Ted, Dave returns to the power room. Gart explains that the gate was designed for a second invasion and filled with salt water, but the shaft is extremely deep. When the power comes back on, Dave and Gart head back toward the group, but suddenly Gart feels blood dripping onto his hand. He looks up and sees a body. At the same time, something in the darkness lets out a loud sound. They run back to the others to discuss their options. There are still 2 hours left before the eclipse ends. Gart suggests hiding in a chemical storage room since its doors are blast-resistant. As soon as they leave the infirmary, a transformed attacker ambushes Gart. He and Dave fight it together and manage to kill it, but the noise draws more creatures. Terrified, Gart runs, slams the door shut behind him, and abandons everyone else. He injects himself with a substance to slow the transformation, then takes his family into another room. He notices distribution lines indicating a tank on the other side of the wall, which gives him an idea. He forms a plan to redirect the salt water through the tank's pipes to stop the creatures. Before leaving, he kisses Laura. At that moment, the door breaks down. Gart escapes, while Dave crawls through the ventilation system. He sees a creature feeding on its victim in one of the rooms. When he reaches the tank, he moves quietly and opens the valve, allowing salt water to flood the containers. Dave heads back, but the creature senses him, chases him, and grabs his leg. Dave fights back, throws salt on it, and the creature crumbles into dust. Meanwhile, the others are surrounded by creatures, and Tyler opens fire on them. Suddenly, they hear Dave's voice over the loudspeakers, telling them to activate the fire alarm. As the creatures close in, Ted tells Tyler to protect the family and attacks the creatures with an axe. Several creatures leap on him at once and kill him quickly. Tyler keeps shooting until he runs out of ammo, then triggers the fire alarm. Salt water pours down on the creatures, causing them to disintegrate into dust as they scream in agony. At that moment, the eclipse ends, and all the creatures begin returning to their world through the gate. This triggers another earthquake. Laura and the kids try to move, but before they can, Gart, whose mind is deteriorating due to the transformation, attacks Tyler and shoots them in the shoulder. Before he can fire again, Dave appears behind him and strikes him in the head with a fire extinguisher. Dave reunites with his family just as a massive creature erupts from below, lunges at Gart, and swallows him whole. The family runs into the medical unit, mixes a salt solution in a canister, and throws it at the creature the moment it kicks in the door, killing it instantly. Afterward, the family steps outside and sees that the world has been completely destroyed. But now, they are ready to start rebuilding. And that's the end of our movie. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.